Alrighty, welcome to the first episode of Mario's Rants, where I talk about whatever I feel like. And as the first episode, I figured I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. Number one, these are my opinions. Okay, so don't get mad and tell me I'm wrong. No, these are my opinions. Two, just if you have an opinion of your own that's different to mine, type it out. And I'm going to read them. Because I like to see that stuff. I like to see other people's opinions. And who knows, maybe, you might create a YouTube video to counteract mine. I'm all for it. I don't care. Alright. Now, the first ever topic on the podcast is going to be the beauty of retro video games. I love retro gaming. Absolutely love it. It's just, these older games were crafted so well, it's unbelievable. Like, if you take a look at the replayability of each game, that was a big thing. Why? Because the consoles didn't have enough power to produce 40-hour long games. Instead, they tried to cram as much action and as much cool stuff in the game as possible. And just look at games let's look at Mega Man X. A perfect example. It is a masterpiece of a game, by the way. If you haven't played it, keep the podcast going and play Mega Man X. But it is just wonderful how great the game is. The game is hard. It's like classic Mega Man. It's still hard, but more movement options. As you go through the game, you collect more items. The thing I've noticed with Mega Man X is, as I was playing, I was slowly memorizing the layout, the route of the levels. And now that I've replayed the game over 100 times, I've come to understand that that's the point of the game. You keep replaying it. It's hard, but the more you keep replaying it, the more you keep pushing through, the more you start memorizing it. It starts getting through to you. And yeah, over time, it gets easier and easier. Sometimes that gets boring. But it's not just replayability that makes a game good. The sound design. I'm using Mega Man X as an example mainly, but let's look at another game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Every single game in that franchise has a stellar soundtrack. Turtles 4, my personal favorite, but my second favorite, Hyperstone. The Turtles Hyperstone Heist. Absolute classic. It's so good. That's another thing, too. The NES and, say, the Master System they sounded the same. But that's also because the capability, it kind of limit them. But once they made the jump to 16-bit, Nintendo went in their sound design. They did something different. And I never was able to explain it, but it just sounds different, and it sounds amazing. Like, if you look at Mario World, it's not Mario World compared to Mega Man X. That Mega Man X, rock and roll, and it's awesome. You can hear the guitar, you can hear the drums, you can hear the bass. It's awesome. And then you go to Mario World, and it sounds different. And it's not just because they're different games, different genres, but it's just the games themselves all had different soundtracks. The sound was different. And then going into the Genesis, I don't know what was happening there. I absolutely love the soundtrack, you know, but you can hear a certain thing in it that sounds more gritty. I don't know what it is, but I love it. Sometimes I just keep playing a game. I keep going back to a game because the sound is just so good. The music in it is just fantastic. Like Mega Man X and Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. Fantastic soundtracks. Amazing. I mean, I don't know. I just found these older games to be just really well done. Another way is when you buy a new game, sometimes the game doesn't come out perfect. Like Sonic Forces, we'll say. Or even better, Sonic Colors Ultimate. I think we all remember how that game first turned out. Yikes. Yeah. People can see. I don't know if that was actually happening, but there's a seizure warning. But and then they had to release an update to fix it. Now you could say that's a good thing, you know? You're able to fix the game. But the game should be good from the beginning. That was the great thing about the older games. You couldn't release an update to fix it. I mean, yeah, you couldn't add in extra content, but that's what a sequel was for. It's to take the first game and either add on to it, like Mario Galaxy 2, or do something new, like Mario Land 3 or Super Mario World 2. You know, and it was. Each game was just. It was either you liked it or you didn't. You know? And, you know, maybe over time you can come to, like, you know, if the controls were too sensitive, you can come to enjoy it. But you know, they would put in so much time to one game and it would just come out great. Or the opposite. They would have very little time and the game would still come out great, like Mega Man 7, my personal favorite classic Mega Man game. So, there's a lot that go into games now still, but there's no real big rush to make it good from the get-go. Besides games like God of War Ragnarok. You know, I think we can all agree that that game was still really good. I mean, I haven't played it, but it's also my opinion, so I get to say what I want. Yeah, I don't know. It's just older games. You know, I've also had a passion for them too. Because I remember in grade 7, grade 8, to get me through class, instead of always playing cool math games, I want to play some actual games, some good games. And then I found out about emulators. And that changed the world for me. When I found out about emulators, I was like, oh my god, there's so many games I can play. I was playing some Kirby when I was in the mood, I was playing Sonic. But the main games, Mega Man 5, Mega Man X, Mega Man X2, and Mega Man 7. As you can tell, I'm a big Mega Man fan. And I just love those games. I mean, even some of the games I used to play on my original Xbox, which I still have, was Jungle Hunt, which was an arcade game. You know, and then there was Crash Nitro Kart and Scooby-Doo Mystery Mayhem, which I actually do still enjoy now. It's a good game. It's kind of like Luigi's Mansion. But in a way, more creepy. Anyway, in a way, I always grew up with retro video games, even though I didn't grow up literally in that era. I didn't grow up in the 80s or the 90s. I grew up 2000s. And even then, still, like 2017 and prior, I was outside all the time. I had friends across from me and beside me. And even on the other street, there were some friends there. So I was always outside. I was never playing on video games. And even if I did, it was because it was raining or just I just wanted to chill out for a bit. But I was young, so I had lots of energy. So I didn't really see the true value in video games until I ended up moving, and now there's literally no one that lives near me. I have to bike to everyone's house, and now I have to message them, hey, are you around? And most of them say no because they're either working or they're lazy and don't want to do anything. So I started playing video games more, and it was a way to help me, get around, pass the time. And now I've come to appreciate these older games, you know? And I think it's a great way to start your kids off. If you want to get them into playing video games, if you just gonna, give them a console, if you're gonna let them play video games, start them off with some older games. Let them play those games when they're young, and then move up. Go up to then 3D games when they're older, and then that way, and then by the time they're my age, 15, they'll realize, oh my god, there's so much good games, and you can still say you grew up with those old games, and you'll still have a good connection with those old games, because I think that's really important. For a good gamer, you have to be able to enjoy the old games. I think it's important. So, all this ends up kind of connecting up to my main point. Why, the beauty of retro video games. The sound design, the replayability of them. No internet, so everything had to be great on the first try. Otherwise, no one's going to try the second game where you fix everything. And overall, it's just enjoyment of them, Try them. What's stopping you? Nothing. You can get them on emulators for free. NES and Super Nintendo. And Game Boy and Master System and Genesis. You can get them for free as long as you have a phone or an iPad. Hook them up to a TV or whatever, and boom. You're playing Sonic. Cook up a controller too, a Bluetooth controller, done. Easy. Simple. And you know what? They're just so good. You can't go wrong, Even on the Nintendo Switch, it has this, when you get the Switch Online, right away you get some NES games, SNES games, Game Boy games. And then N64, Genesis, and Game Boy Advance for the expansion pack, but really, you only need the regular one. So, all these, bring up my main point again. So, again, if you haven't played a retro video game, if it's been a while, go play them. If it looks dumb, try it out, because you know what? You might like it. Like Earthworm Jim. I remember I saw it on the Switch Online. I was like, this looks dumb. Because I knew what Earthworm Jim was, but I never played one. It's like, this looks dumb. Played it. It's not bad. Even Mega Man 7, when I first saw it, I was like, this game looks so cartoony. Because I was used to Mega Man X. Even Mega Man 5 looked fine. I was like, this game looks so cartoony. It's dumb. I don't like this. I'm not going to play this. One day I was bored, so I played it. It's now my favorite classic Mega Man game. Easy. It's so good. So, again, for the third time, go out, try these games, see how you like them. And if you have any other opinions, type them out in the comments. Please, be my guest. I think that'll wrap it up for the first episode of Mario's Rants. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. And have a good day.